Let's go. Let's see what's up. I actually have seen this, so I know who wins. That buzz doesn't last very long, but I'll mute it or I'll lower it for a second. You're gonna suffer through what I suffered through. But yeah, first you have F. Lin jumping around HPCL. Good fadeaway jump A to control the space. Just to keep Lin from jumping on top of her. Because that's all Lin wants to do ever. And really that's her saving grace in this matchup, from what I remember. Is that if she's not jumping on top of PCL, CL's like, here's all the lightning in the world, have fun. Kind of like this. Just have fun. And she actually read the double jump out and the tech. Because as depressing as all of this looks right here, get where she gets launched in the corner or ejected. So like this looks super depressing and everything, and it really is, because even if you're like Nero or Warakia or Kohaku or Reese or anybody with a button that reaches here, you have to tell Mrs. Zeus over there to stop. And it's really about finding the timing to get out of this space. Because even though she has one closer, if she's guessing for you to be closer or do the cascading one, what happens is you have time here to like reposition yourself. And that's what the Lin is trying to do. She's trying to move, even if it's just moving in this column, to reposition herself. So CL has to think about where is she going to wind up, and is it possible for her to whiff a lightning. Just so happens poor Lin is not very successful in this. And that's actually a good place. When she gets up here with this jump and she gets the block up here, because like you saw, that allows her to double jump. Just so happens that she committed all the way down to a double jump and an air dash, which takes away all her movement options. And PCL read that, excuse me. Puts the cascading lightning out, puts the wall up in her face. So now Lin's like, well, fuck. And she gets zapped. And then the tech is one of those scenarios where it's like, well, she wasn't really going to die from that, but she didn't want to wind up in this same scenario because CL could have did it again. And even though she's like right on the edge of 2B range, it's like high risk. That's just a danger zone. I don't want to call it high risk, high reward. It's just a danger zone. Because Lin's like, I could throw the 2B, but the 2B could whiff, blah, blah, so on and so forth. It's not really a safe place for her. So she tries to get out. Just so happens the CL, either she saw it or she just happened to hit this button, which I think it's 5B. Yeah, it's 5B. She actually found her way in this time. From a whiff lightning, no less. She didn't even need the fuzzy. Because this CL just thought she was going to empty jump. It's trying to bait something out. This is... Not that one. That whole sequence right there. Make him block some kind of deep jump in and then dash at him. That's how do I word this? Universal dash pressure. Like, and when I say universal dash pressure, I don't mean like characters with a dash compared to a run. I mean like any game, any 2D game where you have a dash and you don't have an absurd amount of landing recovery when you do a jump normal. This is typical pressure right here, because they're running in your face, so they're in range for 2A, which in this game we all know how good 2A is. You don't know if that's coming out, so you don't really want to press a button. You don't know if you're going to get thrown, so you might want to press a button. You don't know if she's going to do like a 5A to look for you jumping out. Maybe try to reset the pressure again. Maybe look for a button, so go for a beefy starter. It's really scary. hopped over 2C. Just taking this, guys. Quick note about this. This is really typical of a PCL. And it's not so much to hit somebody as it is to just get above them. And in this scenario, I'm kind of assuming she was expecting to at least have Lin block this. Because if she really wanted to do this to the right where Lin is, she could have double jumped and did it. Technically speaking, if she knew she had the time because she's half moon, or rather she's not full moon, she also could have dodged and turned around, but that would have took more time. The TLDR is she could have did this shit the right way if she wanted to. The other thing you can argue is she possibly just did it, period, to change her momentum in the air, which it accomplished that goal. Because for where Lin is, which is somewhere down here on the earth, jump 2C or like super jump 2C looks really good. And it's something you see a lot from Lin because it just covers this humongous rainbow with a hitbox. So she might have just been trying to avoid jump 2C. Oh, hey, guess what? I actually didn't know that. I was just quote unquote theory crafting till it actually happened. And if I had already played it, I'd forgot it. I got that fly memory. You get out of here. Drop the combo, therefore she couldn't get the tech. And there you go. Dodge, turn around to put the lightning in the right spot. HPCL things. Which at this point, alright, I have to point this out. This is pretty important right here. Before this. Because I think it happens before this. So she's doing this combo. She's doing like hard HPCL combos. And then she drops it. And then she hits her again. And she gets a bunch of damage. I don't know, like, let me back up before I say this. Because I'm about to tell you the TLDR of what happened and not the fine details of Powered CL. Because I don't know the fine details. She hit her with a beefy starter. I don't know if she went for the max damage combo at this point, like the max damage starter. But what's real important about this is right here at this point, the first thing she does is grab her. Now, it's important because this hit right here, the one that like launches her to Marvel 3, puts her in the max. So if she just does a regular combo at this point, which isn't going to do too much more, but it's going to leave her in control. If she continued with a regular combo, Lin can burst it. So the first thing she does is make the rest of the combo burst proof. One of the benefits of PCL. Not only does she make it burst proof, she burns like over half of it. And so if Lin wants this life back, the only way she realistically could get it is to wake up, activate heat right there, and hope she hits CL. I rest my case. Let's just forget that she still dies in the corner, but the mechanics. The situational awareness. F Kohaku, Crescent White Lin. I don't know, there's only one F Kohaku I ever have faith in, so I didn't really think too much of this. She was looking for the double dash over on Wake Up and couldn't find it. That's this is a neutral thing right here. She missed the attempt. She might have been able to get it with like maybe a 5A, but it's a good presence of mind of the concept. So the Lin is like flying around with the Kohaku. She's really close to her, and she predicts making her block something in the air, more specifically when she herself, the White Lin, is coming down, right? This is a typical air unblockable scenario, right? Well, I mean, even if you disagree, it is. And since she did jump, I think that's her jump C that she did. It wasn't jump A. It was something with a lot of blocks done, so that Kohaku can't come out with like a jump. She'd have to do a jump B at the least, because her A goes up. So she's stuck, clearly still in stun. She's going to try to air and block her. Too slow. But if nothing else, she still pushes her out. That's something that a lot of people, like a lot of intermediate level people, don't really see when they're playing neutral. Like, they'll make somebody block something in the air, or they can even predict that they'll block something in the air, but they just write it off as, oh, I made them block. I'll continue pressure on the ground, so on and so forth, as opposed to, I made them block like a jump B really low to the ground. I actually get free damage from this, or like a free attempted damage rather. That's in more games than Melty, by the way. Try to command throw again. I only want to point this out because I just said this. Because this is the same scenario. The only difference is the White Lin did jump A this time. Nowhere near as much blocks done. Also did a little bit higher. Therefore, Kohaku can just jump away. But you do see that this White Lin has the understanding that since she did an A, she's not going to be able to really do a 236C again, because the Kohaku is going to be long gone. So she goes with something faster. Sorry. Yeah, Kohaku doesn't really have to stay there if you let her go above you. Not H or F Kohaku. Always good to tech if you think they're gonna drop a ground combo, like legit drop the combo as opposed to try to set up a jank tech. This is Kohaku. This is H or F Kohaku right here. Doesn't have reverse beat, so she's not super threatening in your face. Doesn't have a standing overhead, so she just staggers and hopes you want to press a button for some reason. Raffle? Tech punish. Let me go point out something in this. Because I don't know where this plant came from. I don't know who in their right mind walks up pretty much into like a White Lin 2B range and just drops a plant, but she did it. Just so happened to catch her running in. And this White Lin does the right thing. She throws her, and it's right because it takes a lot of the time from the plant. It takes all the time, just to be more specific. And at this point, she didn't think she'd tech, which is why she dashed. But the Kohaku tech and was really scared. Got tossed again, and this time it's like maybe she'll tech a third time. Tech punish. Don't ask me why the Kohaku kept teching across her. Like, because I kind of believe that if she'd have teched away, she's still in 2B range, but I think it's harder for her to hit 2B than it is the 5C. It's still one of those scenarios that I talk about time and time again where she could have just laid there like many people say, because I'm afraid to tech on the ground, and she'd have just died to OTG damage. So she tried something and it just didn't work out, and it looks so bad in hindsight, but damned if you do, damned if you don't. Some zoning. Little tidbit, little mechanic thing. Most characters, I'll say most just to cover myself. Most characters in this game, when they jump and do a jump A, they can still do something else. They get their air, they get neutral again. They return to neutral again in the air, which is where you're allowed to do jump A, jump C. Hey, Black Star, that's what killed you a lot last night as well. She could have double jumped if she wanted to. If she thought the Kohaku was blocking there, she could have jumped in air through her. But it's something to keep in mind. It's one reason why jump A's are pretty good in this game as well, because they're not a huge commitment. Jump C, jump C. And that was another air unblockable scenario, but the Kohaku jumped away. So what do you do if they jump away, or if they're thinking about jumping away from it? Well, since they have to double jump at that point, you could either predict where they're going to double jump and position yourself from there, or you can try to chase them in the air, which is a little more of a risk since you're putting yourself up in the air as well and you might not catch them. Good prediction on the jump out. Speaking of predicting, of guesswork, du, toi. This is funny. Because she guesses one jump out, right? Puts her down in the corner. And she's looking for another jump out, which she's early. It's more of the Kohaku sees Lin in the air, sees White Lin in the air, so she jumps herself. But the thing that's really awkward is she like just double jumps and lands there. And it's awkward because, as you saw already, this Lin has over 100 meter, right? So as strong as this looks for Kohaku being able to do this, it's really dangerous. And so she does it again, and Lin's like, no. Because if you're going to jump with a Lin, or a White Lin, or a Lin in your face, you have to know for a fact that for whatever reason, they're not just going to air and block you. Which they have very little reason not to. Because even if they dump all of their meter and they're left with under 100, they get to put you in a setup. And in this scenario, Kohaku decided that she wanted to jump and allow herself to get put into the game-winning scenario, or the game-losing scenario. Luckily, the Lin missed. That's the second time she just got a regular shield. Hey, air and block. That's the second time the White Lin got a air shield, not an EX shield. It went into command throw. And I think Kohaku had her jump both times, because you could jump away from it. H Arcroid versus that's actually a Lin, Crescent Lin. If you didn't know that was Lin, that's your indicator right there. Neko Arcs and Cats. It's the zoning. And the way she's zoning, like especially once she gets in the mid screen, since the arc came over here, like she air dashed, she double jumped, she used all of her movement, right? So she has to land in this area. This Neko slowly takes up this line, and it also deters her from jumping in the air. Since it's going to deter her from being in this space right here, she's obviously more than likely going to be on the ground, but she's going to be in an area where Lin can pin her down with something. So it's something you really have to be mindful of against a Lin. Especially if you have the room to be away from jump 2C, since you're probably not going to challenge jump 2C. But like you kind of have to forfeit the range unless you can find a way to slide under all of this, which I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's scary. Quick note. I'm 95% sure this Arcroid just wanted to dash and do 2A. But Arcroid has the dash where she crosses over people. So she got 2A. Didn't look for a tech. But we saw a tech. Sad drop. See, that's Lin in a, I don't want to say Lin in a nutshell, but that's what Lin loves to do. Just give me a reason to jump 2C all over you, and it's going to happen. More Arcroid stuff. She actually could have got punished for doing an air dash and not pressing a button on the way down. But you have to have a really sharp reaction for that. Tries to do an air unblockable, can't find anything. But she's covered by a cat. She's going to throw her on the cat. Oh, the cat's gone. Hey. Looking for the tech again. Hey, welcome to Lynn. Who got thrown? I've seen this before and I still got thrown. That shit is so crazy. Like, it's so crazy. I love Lynn. She's a funny character. No matter where people think she is, she's good against people because of stuff like that. She's good against human beings. When you start taking like Theory Fighter off the table and actual human expectations and reactions, yeah, she's pretty good. And you see her fishing for a lot of jump-ins. Like, she's constantly trying to control the space above her. And I mean, she's not wrong. She sees the arc jumping, but she's just mistiming it. And she's also not wrong because the arc's not running at her. Arc doesn't have the fastest dash. Like, you can actually see it compared to characters, so. Craziness again. And it's good that she got in front of the cat because now she has cover. That bunker was so good. Bunker was so good because she got out in time to block the cat. Setups. Left, right. Right side. Yeah, that's something to note about a Lynn. When you see, that was 2C specifically. 3C's the one where she actually hops next to you or she moves. But that's a button that if you block it, you really have to attack it because it has a late cancel into reverse beats. If she's even allowed to reverse beat it, because in F she obviously can't reverse beat. But if you're gonna attack Lynn through her string, that's a pretty good place. It's not like foolproof, because it's not like she can't put something else behind it, but it's very open if you have the reaction to it, or if you have the heads up to realize, hey, there's a cat jumping at me. That's why she didn't care too much, and that reaction, because the hammer's an overhead. She got whiff punish. Greatest tech trap ever. If you ever wanted to see the definition of diving on a grenade, you just saw it. And this Miyako got so much mileage out of 5C. I think you see it a couple times in this alone. It's tossed. I didn't know that actually put you in the corner. Rather, I forgot. Sandori. That's a good reaction. Well, let me back up. Let me be more specific. It's not so much a reaction, but the way he does the setup. Because a lot of people, and this is a real subtle detail, a lot of people, when they do this, if they were going to do the jump C, they'd have already committed to the jump C. For the most part, you have to. It makes it to where you know for a fact you're not going to whiff it. But the dude holds on to it. He might have held on to it with the intent of going low, but because he holds on to it, he gets to see that she is willing to DP on wake up. I mean, that's what this is. This is DP on wake up. So he leaves himself the room to punish it. All that because he didn't put all his cards on the table as soon as his hand was drawn. That was a shitty analogy. You get the point. I don't get paid for my analogies. I don't get paid for anything. I just get to be cool. Good link. She's not in the corner. Doesn't matter. That was good defense, though. Because that's one of those scenarios where, since you're not in the corner, like, you might not catch it at first, so it's really obvious to want to go there. But at the same time, it's a good idea for the Coma not to do it, because if he would have got the hit, he would have kept her in the corner. He would have finished the he would have probably finished the round right there. That's a bad DP to use, ain't it? Not specifically, because it's a DP. Yo, 5C. Because it's a DP. And sure, it's not the greatest DP in the world, but if you have a tool that you're not willing to use and somebody recognizes it, that's something they don't ever have to worry about. That's just as simple as it is. It's the most profound statement, but it's a simple statement. And the thing to note about this Miyako, one reason why she does so well is even though she is a Miyako, even though she has meh mobility, even though she has like the stubbiest limbs in this entire game, well, okay, the second stubbiest, let's just forget the Nekos. But the thing she does, or one of the things she does that works so well in her favor is this player, more often than not, keeps his opponent in the corner when he gets knocked down. Like, he gets as much damage as he can, but he typically does that ender, the EX air stomp ender, just to set them in a place and keep control of them, to give him a chance to play. Because if he kept doing like max damage cans or whatever, he would go back to neutral, and he'd have to fight through all these Coma limbs, and he wouldn't really get to play that much because he's Miyako, and he'd be upset because he'd get hit by a stray like jump A, or jump into a jump 2B, so on and so forth. But he uses what he has to allow himself to maintain control, which at that point was a burst. Look at them little arms, man. That was actually good. Moving around the bull. He couldn't do anything about that. He had to take that. Lucky for him, this Coma decided to tech in the corner. And I guess I have to point this out. I think it comes up again. Because the reason why he techs in the corner is a spacing thing. Because he's not landing directly under Miyako. And this is another thing to point out. How she throws him away from the corner. Which is why she's jumping out. So, realistically, this Miyako, she has no reason not to sit there and look for the tech, right? She could let neutral and forward techs go because he's going to be in the corner, which then she still gets to play. However, if he wants to try to tech away from the corner right now, and she's looking for it, he dies, which that looks the most promising because he also gets out. So I think she actually reacted to that. I honestly think she reacted to that. And you could argue, guess, either way, but she's still in there. And that's all from positioning. Yo, what up, Q.A.C? And this Coma, he's in the worst scenario possible. He's on a pixel. He's got no meter. He hits a Sandori, but here, all right, let me let this finish. Because here's the thing about the scenario. We're in this again, okay? And you said yourself a little bit earlier, you asked earlier, that's a bad DP to use, ain't it? Okay, well, this Coma is walking on eggshells right now. Miyako has 100 meters. She has 165. 165.97, I think that's what that says. She has over 100 meters. So she can stomp. She can activate heat. If she stomps and she hits him, she wins. If she activate heat and hits him, she doesn't win, but she gets the life back and he has to go through all this again. if she's never willing to do any of that, like if she's never done either one of those all game, this Koma doesn't really have too much of a reason to expect it here. Or he's just going to bait it here and she's going to do it. Those are the two extremes of player habits. But he can't just go for this and he can't leave her alone. He's got to threaten, which still leaves him in a bad scenario because she's already shown she's willing and she has the tools to make this a problem no matter what he does. How she made that call, how they made that call is beyond me. But the shield. Here's the worst thing about this shield. The absolute worst thing about this shield. He just tapped it. He just tapped it. Because if he would have held the shield, he'd have won. But he just tapped it. Saying her stomp isn't as good as a DP as her up kicks. The hitbox is low. Something with invincibility. That's all that really matters. I mean, if she wanted to do up kicks, that's fine. She would have died for that. She would have had more of a chance to die for that. But the fact of the matter is, she's already shown that she's willing to fight back from that scenario. That means that even if you're the most confident person and you don't mind getting hit, like even if that Koma had full life, he had to consider that she's willing to do that, whether he wanted to address it or not. That's the thing to take away from it. Are you willing to actually play your game, or are you trying to stop theirs? That's been the theme lately. Excuse me. Choking on melty blood. Ah ha ha. Some scrambling. I don't know what that button is. It's not her jump A. But it accomplishes a really good goal. That's a little bit of eagerness, and that gave the Lin some room. But I'm okay with her trying it. Lightning Hell. You see her trying to reposition herself, can't really find it. And that's another answer. If you get the timing for it and you super jump at her. Now we get to be Lin. Have fun. Have fun. Where are you going? Oh. And even though I think people know this, I have to point this out where this burst is. Because this burst isn't the half moon automatic burst. It's the subtle mechanic of if you have 200 meter in half moon, you can activate your burst whenever you want to. Your circuit spark, excuse me. You can manually activate it. That's what that one was. Oof. Tricks. Throw loops. Yeah, that's real grimy right there. A safe tech, or a tech that leaves you in plus from a setup. Hey, it could be worse. It could be a second impact Kabuki. Haha. She can't really use this meter right now. Trading spaces. That was a good block. But that was such a heavy commitment from it. High risk, well, not a high risk, but it'd have been a nice reward. But she gave up all the momentum and pressure she had. Gave up the positioning as well. Now she's in a bad spot. Possibly not going to see her heat, which would be her only salvation at this point. That's the game we play. Those are the risks we take. Those are the choices we make. Some F Lin and some F White Lin and F Roa. So even though this is like the least mobile of the Roas, I want to say, I guess it's about the same as C. He doesn't really have a great deal to put out far in front of him. So when White Lin gets the space, she can control a lot of space around her with her icicles. The ones she plants. I guess I have to find terms to differentiate from like the ice flakes. I guess they are icicles. Either way, he's over there breaking down his defenses, playing with his habits. It's more if he's taking the risks. It's a hard knockdown. Soft knockdown. I said hard, I lied. And Whiteland's air throw is is a techable on the ground. But one thing you always have to fear is if you tech away or tech neutral, like you tech in front of her, the fear of having the block jump 236C, the jump ice shard. So that alone is a pretty good deterrent not to tech. Although if you never tech, then she just gets setups for free. Right? Zoning 5C. I mean, he could really want to jump at her if he wants. And he's got a really good jump normal. He's got his jump C, his full charge jump C, which reaches really far. But if he wanted to take that risk, that's a risk that could have cost him the game. Subtle neutral tactics. Zoning. Normal zoning as opposed to projectile zoning, which is what most people think of when you say the word zoning. Oh, hey, look, Jeff, it's your friend. So yeah, this is where I saw the loops, the 2A 2C loops. It's a good backdash. And it's kind of sad that Lin missed that. Although Akia would have had to block, Seifuku would have had to block. I'd also never seen that until this Akia came about, this Seifuku came about. And this is something. This is another really subtle detail that gets lost in translation to a lot of people in this game. Oh, I forgot that I have this set up so I can do this. It's really easy for me to show you with Kohaku, because anybody who knows Kohaku or anybody who's seen Kohaku understands that this is a really dumb button to deal with, right? But if Kohaku sits around and does this all day, she gets counter hit a lot, especially if you know it's coming, so you work around it. So this winds up being good to do the same thing people want to do to you, like try to counter poke against them, or just to have a fast button when they're jumping in your face. It's something that pretty much every character can do, but because when you do this, you're typically looking for this as opposed to something like that, or if your character has it, something like that, aka a truckload of damage. A lot of people, a lot of like mid-level people, mid-lower level people, they don't really value what you honestly get from this, which is effectively the same as this or the same as this, but it's mobile and it covers the space above you. It's a jab. It's an aerial jab. Subtle details. The small nuances to up one's game. This combo is so funny. That combo is so funny. I think I went back way too far. Whatever, I don't care. Right here, this combo is so funny because she does all of these 2As And she has to do all of these 2As. This is actually the smartest, one of the smartest things I've seen in a while. Because what happened, or what's going to happen is, once she hits this jump B, yeah, that's her jump B. Once she hits this jump B, if she just does max damage right here, which would be 5B, 2B, 2C, her combo gets broken by the cat. So she just does a bunch of 2As to waste the time of the cat. And even then, she still kind of staggers the rest of her string to try her damnedest to make sure she doesn't hit this cat. Loses so much damage in the combo, but she leaves herself in a position to be able to end the round. If nothing else, she didn't get her combo broken up by a fucking black fucktard just walking down the street. Yeah, I know she got counter hit out of 2C. She got caught jumping there. That was a good dash under. Hey, there's that thing that apparently Ryogi can never do. She can do that. Oof. Hey, kids. You ever want to know how to make shield struggle or any kind of like clash move struggle? I'm not going to sit here and say beat it cleanly because that's not always the truth. But you want to know what's really good against like clash in this game? Multi-hitting moves. Hey, jump B. Or 214B, excuse me. And the one time she pulled the command throw out of her pocket. She got blown up for it. And then she tech. You ever wonder why when Lin throws somebody, like corner throws to end her combo, you randomly see them just run up and do this stray 5B and not finish it? This is why. More jump A's. Because again, she doesn't want to commit to anything too heavy. It doesn't matter if her buttons aren't that great in the air. It's the fact that she still retains her options after she does the jump A. And they're doing Seifuku things. We give ourselves a chance. Try to pin her in the corner. She forgot about the cat. So sad. Try to go back to that zoning. And just deter it a little bit. Even if it's like the implied threat of throwing a bunch of Neko arcs out there. But enough to try to like coax her into staying down so Lin can jump 2C her. Whew. But the cat crawl. You don't like timing meaty things? Get out of here. Hey, it's our friend the Miyako. It's our friend the Miyako against her her eternal rival. A character who has an article of clothing bigger than she is. Somebody who is twice her size. Somebody whose leg is bigger than she is. Sad drop. And it said, Wara gets his heart knocked down. I'm trying to think of what you would do to make this happen. Like, I forget what you would actually do to make this happen. But it's so funny because the thing you have to know about this, like you see, or like you saw already, is he reappears wherever he did this. So Miyako doesn't know that. Or he reappears in the line below it, rather. That's the correct way of wording it. No, you didn't blink. This video does that a couple times. It's kind of a jank recording. Jay, you didn't miss too much. She has the meter. It's okay to save the meter because again, instead of just throwing him out of the corner so she's in the corner and leaving him an opportunity to tech away, she throws him so that he can tech. And the way he gets out of this scenario is if he techs and she just misreads the tech, but it deters him from wanting to tech out of the corner because he just dies for that. He'll lose like roughly about the same. But the big thing is if he tries to tech out of the corner, since she has over 100 meter, she has, it's not 2-4. It might be 4-2-1. The elbow, the one that side swaps. She has a way to put him back in the corner. That's the important thing I'm getting at. I forget the input. But she has a move to put him back in the corner if he ever tries to tech out. Hey, 5C. Just doing strings. She uses a lot of 6B in her strings and reverse beats from 6B just to stay on top. She doesn't really care so much about staggers. She doesn't really care so much about the high-low. But she just wants to stay on top of him with a stream of pressure. Hey, every fucking Lin is an idiot because they all do this in mirrors. Sorry. Had to point that out real quick. Yeah, you'll see more of that Miyako, obviously. Quick mechanical lesson. Don't know how I didn't notice, but just realized that certain launcher moves give auto jump, super jump on neutral. Yeah. Yeah, that is true. 5As and 2As can be shielded high or low. Same thing with jump As. That was a... Anytime Lin jumps on you, like... Where was it at? And I mean, this is what I'm about to say is generically true, but it's really prevalent with Lin. Anytime she jumps on you in a scenario like this, even though she air dashed at the other Lin, this is still a 50-50, high-low 50-50. Because she could have jumped out with jump 2C. With the fuzzies. Just do 2Cs, it'll work out. Undo trois. Left, right, 50-50. No, she wants damage. My bad. Oh, duh, she's about to kill her. I had my lens mixed up. My bad, I had my lens mixed up. F-Lin couldn't have did that anyways, because she doesn't have eye shards. She has the... She's like the snowball thing. I don't know what to call it. This breaks out with 5C. 5C is a really good button for all the Lins. I think it's good for all the white Lins as well. Just another arc drive. Let it rip. It'll be all right. Undo trois. Here's your left, right. Do it again? Yeah. That's the thing she forgot. To actually do a meaty, but it's okay. What I said made you realize that your guide was wrong? It happens. That's why you just put the information out and change it as it goes on. I don't know what your guide said. I haven't looked, well, I haven't read through it yet. I've glanced through it every now and then, but I haven't looked at it in detail yet. I still need to do that. Oh, hey, look, she made it through the hidden temple. Because PCL lightning is, like, so amazing. There's no way you can work around it. But she guessed wrong, and she guessed wrong again. Well, that's kind of what happens. She doesn't really want to press anything because let's back up. Putting the Theory Fighter goggles on real quick. Like, she can't move back. She can't adjust herself in spacing, right, in the neutral, which is why being in the corner is the bad spot for footsies. But what buttons does she really have right here that she can press and even hope to whiff something, whiff punish something? 2C. That's really about it. All of her other buttons, they're not so slow you can't press them, but they're pretty slow, so they have a good chance of getting beaten out. And even though Arcroyd doesn't actually have a button she can hit her with from right here, the fact that she can move and readjust herself gives her the advantage in this scenario. Which is why, if you've ever wondered why, like, Street Fighter, King of Fighters, Guilty Gear, whatever game you're playing, you really, you just feel the fear. You feel like this is one of the worst scenarios ever, and you just instinctively don't want to press buttons. It's because you can't readjust yourself and make somebody whiff. Real streamlined concept, but felt like I figured I felt like pointing that out. However I want to say that, I don't care. Thing is, 2C isn't going to hit right here. So even though CL has buttons that'll reach Arcroyd, she doesn't want to press them. That's one of the minuses of PCL. Just the speed of her buttons. Yo, when she's on the other side of the fence, yo, it's a field day. PCL footsie normals. Yeah, she can do it. It's just, it doesn't look as promising. Like, the most generic example of this is watching J. Wrong play Rufus with the bad Rufus buttons and sweeping people to death. Just have to learn how to make use of your trash buttons. And sometimes the use of your trash buttons is to put them in your pocket and just block. Well, she's going in this corner. Unless there is a drop. Oh, okay. So she actually knew the circuit spark was coming, and she mistimed her dodge around it, because even though you see the animation, like you see the smoke and everything, the actual hitbox isn't till like the later part of this animation. So she dodged too early. The reason why I actually paused it is I was gonna say, you know, she should have tried to duck under it. Hindsight's 20/20. She could have shielded it. She could have possibly ducked under it. She actually could have dodged it, but she just missed time to dodge. But she knew it was there. That's what's important. She didn't do anything wrong. She just had a little tech flub. All this because she was trying to stop a jump in. She left her feet. It's like, why not throw her time and time again if she's not going to press anything? Why not? Who cares if the most you get from it is like jump CC air throw? It beats what they're doing. Nope. Arcroyd actually has a DP. Good bunker. Better shield. Nope. I want right there. No, because of how the character is, she couldn't. If that was counter hit, she probably could have got a side swap. But because it wasn't a counter hit, I don't think she could have got a side swap. And the main reason I think she couldn't have got a side swap is I'm pretty sure PCL's hitbox reaches like about where she is right now. like a frame earlier. And what would have happened is if Arcroyd would have tried to dash under her, she would have got the hop around thing that she has. So she'd have just dropped the whole thing. Which if she just wanted position, that would have been okay. But that's a techable knockdown. So she would have had to have guessed from a tech chase scenario. If there would have even been one. Instead, she just takes guaranteed damage and drops it. It's no big deal, though. I do have to point this out because this is a commitment thing. Right there. A little bit earlier. Or after dropping this, she really wants to, or the Arcroyd really wants to drag PCL down. So she knows she's in the spacing where she can go up and make her block something. So she tries to push her under her with jump AC string, right? It's a big commitment, and it's not wrong because she could have pushed her down and then possibly dove on top of her with maybe like a later jump B, because it might be possible for her to actually come out of her jump C at that height. If not, I don't know what she's going for. She has ways to come down, and I'll get to the latter part of my explanation in a second. Oh, wait. I know how this works out. 'Cause she's blocking. So that's what she's looking for, right? It's not a bad idea. She's gonna push her down, and then she's gonna come on top of her with a jump 2B, right? The thing is, never in her wildest dreams would she imagine this PCL pressing a button here on the first jump A. And if she had just did jump A, she would have she'd have been able to side swap, put her in a corner, and take probably 3K, 3.5K. But she overcommitted. Didn't know it was gonna happen. But that's another reason why sometimes all you really need to do is a jump A. Can't say every time, because again, I just showed you what she could have gotten if PCL would have blocked, but situations didn't happen. And then she tripped over the landmine known as a PCL 2C. She's looking for the DP. Here's the trick. Hold on. All right. That's actually character knowledge that she did that. Because PCL can do this setup in a way to where she can get behind you. I forget the logistics of how she makes it work. I think it's the timing on the launch thing. But she can do this to where she can get the corner. The reason why this doesn't matter is because Arcroyd's DP is a 2-2 DP. So she doesn't care what side you're on. She's not going to get her inputs messed up. Knowing that, she still baits the DP. Because if she were to try this on like a Nania, a Xion, a character with an actual 623 DP, they'd be more inclined not to try the DP in this scenario unless they knew without a shadow of a doubt what side the PCL was going to land on. So this is one of those higher up setups where you got to know they know, so on and so forth. You also got to know that your 5A is very reliable. Just let it rip. Gonna take you for a ride. 3 OTGs. That's what that was. And then toss her, because why not? It looks cool. I have a bottle of water down here. Sick. Hey, it's the jump A, do other stuff thing I talked about earlier. This Kohaku's kind of crazy. Just dash in and toss some plants. Have complete faith. Hard knockdown. Into a setup. Nope. That's one way to get away from throws. Just jump. As opposed to trying to tech them. And see, even though he could have bunkered out of the pressure, he doesn't really feel enough pressure to really need to do so. So just hold on to it. Save it for a rainy day. Oof, Toby. Save it for one of these. Because he can get the meter again with the OTG. Or just a meaty drill. Easy 100 to come by. Just for that. Surprise. You can't actually just do that to F. Kohaku. This is really interesting right here. Where is this? Right here. Because, I mean, he's coming down with a jump A. Again, because it's going to stop her from trying to do like a rising B. Which is something that might cross her mind. It's also going to challenge jump A. Which would have been the more reasonable thing to do. But he gets a block. And since it's only a jump A, he doesn't really want anything to do with this, right? So he actually takes this huge risk. And it looks like he backdashes. For where she was, he technically forward dashed. Maybe he had it in his mind that she was scared enough to just land and block. Maybe he understands that from... I have to back up and show you this frame again. From this scenario, it's really advantageous for him against F. Kohaku. Because whereas a lot of characters could come down and hit A, I guess I'll show you this. Because this is one of the double-edged swords of F. Kohaku. And I play F. Kohaku, so people might wonder why I don't do this. This is her jump A. So like, if she throws that jump A, and he totally is looking for it, or really not even looking for it, just status quo. I made her block something, and I'm gonna 2A. She dies in that scenario. So, as crazy as it looks to try to dash at her right there, he's got a good reason to. Nothing really came of it, but it's some things that could have. If you ever let her get a jump C out, though, that's big buttons. Big buttons. It's good and couldn't get the confirm, though. And the spacing. Playing at the end of each other's range. And that was so sad. He had the right read and everything. He had the right read and everything. Not right there. Right here. It's too slow. And it's only by frames. It's only by frames. See ya. Oof. And one more of those and that's GG's. Unless he can get some blocks, which he doesn't. Because he was really looking for the meter. The meter to at least give him a reversal to stop what little bit of offense you can actually put on him, but he couldn't find it in time. Nerds. Oh, this is so funny. I actually remember this. So they both get this this double air counter hit. And so they're both in this tech scenario. Technically speaking, if you want to get like super trying to sue somebody over the most minute thing possible technical about this, Coma has the right of way in this tech because he's going to hit the ground first, all right? But just like you saw how they got in this scenario, both of these idiots want to just get in each other's face and press buttons. So they both tech at each other. That's one way you can look at this scenario. Or you can look at it in another perspective, which is based off of their position. Coma is assuming that Roa is not going to tech out of the corner. He's just taking a read on that. And so since he is going to tech first, he's trying to tech aggressively at him just so he can maintain his pressure. And then Roa is just assuming that maybe he won't tech in place and look for me to get out. Or worst case scenario, he has to block. So he's trying to tech away. Two different ways to look at the exact same scenario. Because I say a lot of what happens in just any competitive game is not so much of like right and wrong, but how you view the scenario. And if you're able to figure out how your opponent is viewing specific events, that's how you can start making better reads on them. It's just my 10 cents. I'm somebody who just sits around in training mode quite often and looks at videos. What's a tournament? Haha. If he would have held that, he would have punished that dash in. He would have shielded it. Hey, guess what? Roa had the right of way that time. So Coma was like, he has all the reason to tech away. And I can't really stop him. Nice catch. Ooh, that was pretty risky. Yeah, I remember this Roa drops a lot of easy stuff. Which, even if you wouldn't have dropped that, I guess I can go about right here. No, it's like right here. Actually, it wasn't that far back. $5C, $6C, and then there's supposed to be 236 here. I want to say 236A. But here's the problem: even if he doesn't drop this and he knocks Coma down, Coma's sitting with 150 meter, so it's gonna be kind of hard to actually close this out at this point. It still would have been better to, you know, take an attempt at it instead of mess up and leave him in a chance to leave him in a scenario where he can do that. Put the dash in 2Bs on him. See, he has no problem doing it as block strings. Hey, Black Star. Hey, Black Star. Hey, Black Star. Check this out. Check this out, man. Pressing buttons with the intent of disrupting movement, as opposed to committing to full strings. This is what it looks like. What did he get from it? He didn't do 4K. He didn't put him on his back. That is true. And that's why a lot of people don't value that. But what did he get from this? In this scramble that he was losing, and in this scenario that he shouldn't have even been able to do this, he fucking made Coma stop. And that's good enough to allow him to get back and do whatever the hell he wants to do from a neutral standpoint again. That's what I was telling you about earlier. That's what it looks like. Oh, that. I have to point that out too. Because I remember. It looked awkward the first time I saw it as well. But he's just doing these two A's, and he's already confirmed a hit. But he's just trying to put himself away from this. And he figured after like 5 2A's, because he did 2, and then he did another 3. He figured after all that he wasn't going to burst, and Roa just waited forever to burst. Hey, how did you get over there? See ya. I'm surprised this turned into a real stream. Man, you don't know my stream habits. Get out of here. Nobody knows my stream habits. My stream habits are like your excuses for playing and not playing games. Got him. Some close range projectile zoning. Doesn't really work out in her favor. And that's actually kind of rare for a Lin. It's really rare to just not see a Lin throw the 5B out there. I mean, if she does it early, or does it that early, then White Lin techs out, or she could tech out. But it's just really awkward to not see it. Fake. This is one of the benefits of having a button like a jump A, or really anything that doesn't hit crouching people. I say crouching people, she technically did it early, and this is Lin. You're not going to hit her with a lot of crouching stuff anyways, but the benefit of having something like that, so you can have fakes to go low, quick fakes to go low. You're gonna ask me something about the C Shion guide? Alright. Actually ask me right now. Just in case this goes on for God knows how long. She was doing that whether you blocked it or not. Turns out you didn't block it. So you're so sad. And the thing I think is really weird, I get why this happens, but she's White Lin. This is your White Lin over here, down here to the left. It's created all this space, right? Excuse me. She's created all. I burped. I'm sorry. She created all this space, right? She has Lin full screen, and this is a Lin, so Lin is gonna like jump to C. Or want to jump to C, even though this is full screen. This is like an idea that happens. To deter her from doing this, I kind of wonder why she never puts out ice shards. And instead just wants to jump up with her. Side swap. And the thing to note about this side swap is she actually has to double dash. Because White Lin can't cross somebody up with her dash unless they're standing. So she has to double dash this. And you can tell she's double dashing because Lin is down here in her cat form crouching. Or crawling at her. She can only crawl forward. I say crawl, but it's a catwalk. And she can only do that forward. Yeah, it probably is 2B, 5B. I didn't look hard at the combos. Give me the whole combo. I'm pretty sure it's 2B, 5B, and that was just a typo. That's broken. It's really not. You just have to know how it works. Ooh, 5C anti-air. Hey. Hey, and nobody really wants to tech against her. That's so scary to tech right there. Did you blink? She has those. the most rogue 3C to get out of the corner. And again, good ways to beat Clash. Have a bunch of hitboxes, throw them at it. Big jump C. Question is, where does she leave her afterwards? I mean, if this white Lin texts and gets called, she dies. She's gonna have to, like, if she gets up right now, if she finds her footing right now, she still can't even really fight Lin because Lin's about to hit burst. So she's gonna have to, she can't commit to a lot of stuff. She can't make heavy commitments to stuff. She's got to be able to, like, move around the burst. So her arsenal is limited a decent bit at this point. She finds a tech out though. And this is something you got to be able to do. I'm bad at this. Like, I'm horrible at this shit right here. If you're ever in somebody's face and you're against H, by default, you already want to, like, do a lot of A's. Not like mashing 2A or 5A, but you want to try to stay on the left side of your stick because when you hit them, they're going to burst, right? And a lot of A's in this game, I'm not going to sit here and say all, I'm not going to sit here and say most, but a lot of them recover fast enough to where you can hit somebody and then you can shield before you get hit by the circuit spark, the automatic circuit spark. That's what you want to look for. However, the reason why she actually got the punish isn't because she punished the circuit spark, but because Lin pressed the button. You can't punish H circuit spark on the ground. Good dodge. Dodge of the ages. That was another good dodge because she would have died for that. It's like, you really want to put that shield out there? Okay. Okay. This just looks funny unless you know characters. And I know I've pointed this out to everybody I play with. Or everybody I play with offline. Alright. So she just eats this Neko and she dies, right? Why does she just eat this Neko and die? Well, it's actually a lot simpler than me going back for this. Right here. This is White Lin, right? She's crouching. And Neko is overhead. It's just really that simple. But it just looks so awkward because she has the worst crouch in fighting game history. Maybe she thought it was a cat. I don't know. Let me point this out too, real quick. Right there. I know I'm rewinding 20 times. I don't care. This is mine. Zoning. That's all I wanted to say. That was more zoning too, but successful zoning. Hey. That's how you beat bunkers. I don't know if he, like, option selected. He couldn't have really option selected that unless he just planned on doing an A and jumping anyways. So just the presence of mind to do that is kind of nuts. The cat is overhead. For some reason that boggles your mind. Well, here's a Lin. Here's a character with a very obvious crouch. It's overhead. Just in case you didn't believe me. Which I don't blame you, because you're like, she just throws a fucking doll at you. Nah, it's overhead, man. Oh, here's something else I have to point out because I'm trying to mess with this with some characters and I can't exactly get it to work. Well, not this exact scenario, but something like it. When you bunker, no matter what happens, you bunker whichever way you're facing, right? So there are some ways. I guess I'll give some people around me who play me a hint. I'll show you what I'm messing with. Because this actually came up when I played Sunday, and it didn't cross my mind, or it didn't catch my eye, till I looked at the VOD again. I want a more obvious character. That's a more obvious character. If you can ever not do that, and I actually want, oh, that's right, cool. If you can ever make this scenario where the character is facing the wrong way when they block, they can't bunker. Like, they can bunker, but her bunker is going to go to the right. So, like, she can't bunker me here. And to give you a hint of what I'm trying to work at, I'm trying to do that same scenario and wind up with this. with my opponent facing the other way. I don't think Kohaku can do it, but I think she can do it with Hisui. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Not about me, though. Back to Lynn's. That's just a little note about bunkers. They don't autocorrect. That's some of the Lyn you know and love right there. The white Lyn. That's both of them real quick. Both of the characters in their prime. His sequence is actually pretty good. It shows a lot about both the characters. A lot about how they function. Because at the end of the day, I've said this a bunch of times, all Lyn wants to do is jump at you. You got to deal with this. It's not that she can't work well on the ground, but jump C is really strong because it hits so deep, and it gives you a mix-up automatically, assuming you didn't use all of your jump options. Jump 2C is really good. You can, with jump 2C, it allows you to do what a lot of characters can't do in this game specifically, which is just over jump somebody. So you don't have to be as accurate with your jumps. You don't have to be as specific with your jump arcs. In fact, the burden is more on your opponent to be out of their space, out of your space when you jump at them. But then you also have White Lyn, who is really good at sitting on the ground and just controlling the space around her and taking lines away from you, like either lines in front of her or diagonal lines down if she starts jumping. But just because she's jumping doesn't mean she's committing to throwing an ice shard. She still has a lot of good buttons to control the space, like above her with jump C, like so, and the 5B to control space around her. Just a lot of good buttons. 5C for above her as well. So it's really a struggle to find the timing to jump at her if you give her the space to put the icicles out. Like, she kind of threatened an air ice shard right there, but didn't let it rip. Controls some space, jumps away. Just scrambling, trying to find some space, but Lyn is over here being Lyn until she got caught. I think, alright, this one. I've said this time and time again, but, and I'm only going back because I've said this about 3 or 4 times, so I have to make this correction when it comes up. This shield, it's still Lyn's fault, but she couldn't have held it because she's H, so she just needed to time it better. It's the first time that came up. Back to scrambling. No ice shards. No ice shards. Icicles, excuse me. Yeah, invincibility frames. What about them? Hey. And that time, she's already seen that scenario since the Lin dodged her earlier. So she took a guess. It's like maybe she'll dodge again. Throws a delayed jump 236C. Sharpshooter. Hey, it's our friend the Miyako. And our other friend the Seifuku. Wants to save the meter for now. This. Like, come on. It is so sad. Because it doesn't really do that much damage. Even though that was a shield counter. Seifuku things. That was just a high-low mix-up. Since she, I'll point out why this is high-low. Right here, she turned around. So when she dashes back over, even though she hits back on the side she jumped from, she's facing left now, which means this Miyako's still under cross-up protection. It's just a high-low. Oh, I'll point this out too. After all this, because this is a, how do I describe this? It's just a neutral strategy, if you will. Something that not a lot of neutral strategies get really talked about unless you talk to players who play neutral heavy characters, which, I mean, I guess you can argue Seifuku has some decent neutral, but it's not overbearing like somebody with half screen normals like Kohaku, Warakia, Nero, Merkava, Gordo. Whoops, wrong game. But instead of pushing her advantage that she had right there, pushing the pressure, she decides to go back into a position where if she really wanted to, she can start throwing out the rings, right? Whatever you want to call them, ribbon rings, blah de blah. She can back up and she can start throwing out shit in front of Miyako. And for this Miyako to come to her, she has to overcommit. Like, she either has to step up inch by inch, which Seifuku can react to. It's not like Miyako can literally run like Shion speed full screen. She can't run, and her dash isn't really that fast. She could super jump, but that's a huge commitment. She can't like jump and air dash because her air dash isn't really fast. So all Seifuku's doing is staying in a position to where if Miyako wants to come at her, she has to overcommit. And you see her just maintaining the position even with the back dash. Put yourself in the corner, but again, how does Miyako really threaten her from this space? Even like one of Miyako's, or her fastest long range tool, which is dash 2C, doesn't cover this. So it's something to keep in mind about some characters. And you can really do it to anybody so long as you can get out of their range. And so when does she step in? When she feels that the Miyako is going to try to commit to something, which she ran in and she tagged her from a super jump with a 5A. Great artist steal. I agree. Just like she stole that counter hit. Nah, I'm out. She didn't care if she hit her. She just wanted to get out. This is one of those scenarios. This is if you know Street Fighter, if you know Street Fighter 4 more specifically, Seifuku just did oh god, which one is it? It's one of Vega's ultras, the slide ultra, where he doesn't really give a fuck if he hits you. He just wants out of the corner. And if you get hit, that's just bonus. And the way this works is you're guessing if they're going to commit to doing something. That's really all it is. And Miyako's like 2B. She's doing a 2B more specifically to look for a jump out. Like the jump away from a throw. But she's doing a 2B nonetheless. She committed to something. Seifuku's like deuces. Trying to play my game again. my game where I use my good dash, my long range dash, to harass you from this range. Ikimasu. And that time, yeah, she's using it for the plus frames. Taihin. And I don't know what she tried. I really don't know what she tried from there. Oh, P.S. Oscar, what's up, man? Like, I read your message and everything, and I just didn't acknowledge that you are now here. That's my bad. And Poopskins, what's up? I actually didn't acknowledge your LOL either above Q.A.C. That's my bad. That is super my bad. Seifuku things. Yeah, you can't really pin somebody down with that. This is... I'll tell you why she didn't do this. Because even though she clearly meant to shield, I mean, you don't accidentally hit 6D. I'm under the impression that she didn't do the shield counter on purpose. And I'm under the impression she didn't do it because of this scenario that'll happen. And I know I'm about to show you with the wrong phase, but I'm pretty sure every character's counter is the same between H and F, and the question is, do you have to manually do it or not? Oh, not guard. I want that. She didn't want that to happen. And I mean, I know Miyako's a little bit higher up, but it's still kind of prone to happening against relatively low jump-ins, especially if you have a kind of slow counter like that. And there's one more thing I have to consider. Oh, the more obvious thing. She still had her double jump, so she could have double jumped back, which she wouldn't have got anything, but I mean, Seifuku wouldn't have got anything either. She gets the 2A though. Max range 2A. And then she did the 2A before she jumped. Extending the pressure. And this is smart. This is smart right here. That right there. Actually need to look at that. First time I honestly questioned something. Because I don't know if that's air unblockable. But even if it's not air unblockable, it's kind of scary. Because if it's not air unblockable, it's you possibly sitting on a ring to get air unblocked. Hey. Hey. Yeah, that's air unblockable. So, basically she was shooting to kill at this point. Miyako stayed behind the trench, stayed under the trench, in the trench, whatever. Just dove on a 5A. Hey, there's your DP you wanted earlier, Black Star. Get the fuck out of here. Will you go away? I guess she did this whole time, even though she got jumped on. You've got Seifuku standing in this range where it's like she can cover so much ground with her dash, with her quick pokes. Miyako can't really cover as much ground, so this is more advantageous for Seifuku. And Miyako plays this right. She just creeps in, bit by bit, eventually gets her cornered. And this is actually a pretty good range for Miyako. It's not like, again, her strongest range, but from where she dashed in, if she was in neutral right here, dash 2C looks fairly threatening. And then you also have this, her air dash, which kind of functions like a hyper hop, if you will. And I mean, Seifuku had the right read. Just Miyako jumped over it. Killed her. Slaughtered her. 1 sec, drugs. My bad. You want to talk about something really scary? I've said this a few times already. Just seeing this scenario again. Even though she got the EX. Oh, excuse me. It's like mint nose spray. Don't ask me why I have mint nose spray. Even though Seifuku gets the EX block on this, she's in the air blocking a jump C, right? She comes out first. But it's really hard to gauge like where exactly you are. So this looks like a really scary scenario. So she's trying to jump away from a 5A. 5A or possibly a 2B. Lucky for her, she didn't actually need to do it, but quick air unblockable scenario with a lot of blocks done. Especially coming from a dangerous move like Miyako jump C, because Miyako's jump C is borderline nuts. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say it's overpowered or broken, but it's pretty nuts for how active it is. Nope. And that stomp would have been fine if there was like a 2B or a 2C, but again, just light commitments get you out of crazy scenarios like that. Hey, somebody who actually held their shield. First time you've seen her do this. Presence of mind. It's really simple. Because the average not tournament player, I guess I just have to say not tournament player, like low-level tournament players, people who drown in pools and stuff, they'd have did the stomp. And they'd have tried to kill Seifuku from a mix-up, which she doesn't have anything. She doesn't have any meters. She's not really getting out of it. Or you could just do a damage ender and finish her. Maho Shoujo Kohaku Ikimasu. And then get jumped on. Yeah, you know I'm pointing this out. Not that one. As I was talking about air unblockable scenarios, and this is the quick one. This shows a lot of Lin right here. This shows a lot of Lin's story right here. It's really scary when she's in your face because of stuff like this. Even if you want to try to move away, like as she's coming in, jump 2C covers so much space. Doesn't matter if she's in front of you or behind you. And the 5A, 5C conversion from that. Hey, where you going? Left, right, 50-50. And she knew. And I guess you could take a really good assumption that she was going to be on the left side because she before she backdashed, I guess I have to show this exact frame. She dashes like right under her. Right? So, unless she starts taking steps back here, it's a reasonable guess. It's still a guess, unless you actually play Lin and you know, which I don't play Lin, I don't know. But I don't fault this Kohaku for taking such a crazy chance like this backdash. Would regular up kicks in the EX do more damage? In all honesty, I don't know. I don't know because of the scaling. That's something you'd have to ask a Miyako player. I instinctively actually want to say yes, but I'm not a combo builder kind of person. It's not like the most intricate thing in the world, but that's one of those things where it's really easy to say yes and then it might be wrong. So I don't know. Big Rig tell me. Oh, point this out to Black Star. Because even though I say the stream's for me, it's not always for me. Hey, here is a person whiffing an air throw. When you whiff an air throw, you have to land, and you have landing recovery, and you're in a counter hit state. So when somebody whiffs an air throw, you kill them. Although this Lin only did she did a 2A starter. She could have easily got a 5B starter, but she could have did something bigger than a 2A, which I guess in her case would have been 5C. Because 5B might have been too slow, even though I said she could have did 5C. She can't do 2C. Not and get like a big beefy chunk of damage. Because not 2C, 2B. She can't do 2C either. But she can't do 2B because 2B is her sweep. Her regular sweep. Try to kill her with OTG. Dove on a hand grenade. Oh man, who does this? Who does this? Scumbag Lin players. But the Kohaku did this to herself. Like, the only way she was possibly getting out of this scenario at this point is if she shielded. And she actually could have tried. Oh, wait. Yeah, she could have tried to shield and shield counter. Now, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure that this Lin considered that. And what makes me believe she considered that is right here she starts crouching. Alright? So even if Kohaku does a shield counter, I'm pretty sure a shield counter is going to whiff Lin at this point. So I'm pretty sure this Lin just checkmated the hell out of her. Perfecto. There's actually one more out she had. But it would have been another guess. Or not a guess. It wouldn't have gotten her out, but given her a chance. And it would have been in the Lin's hands to do this right. She could have did Molotovs, or she could have did Broom Ride right here. But either one of them is like, oh, jump A, GG. But she did have other options. Not good ones, though. Silly Kohaku. How the hell she got that hit on a cat Lin? I'll never know. Yeah, you're pretty okay to do that to a Kohaku. Or F Kohaku at least. She can't really defend herself. Power of Lin. Power of Lin. And the thing about this is that you actually, as a Lin player, you have to be brave enough to like either hold down or down forward when you do this. Because if you're holding down back, you're still gonna get her crouch hitbox. Like, she's gonna proxy block, and you'll get her crouch hitbox, which is a little bit bigger than her just her neutral crouching hitbox. So you effectively either have to be really sharp with your spacing or willing to get hit in the face for doing this. But it's such a good tool. Like one of the lowest of low profiles. And again, she knows. The Kohaku knows. This is for my sake. This is for my sake. Okay. Because from how I pictured this in my head, whenever I get an air throw, more often than not, well, actually, every time, unless I mess this up, I usually whiff cancel the drift from this. Because what you do is Kohaku when you get a neutral air throw is you can stay close to somebody, or you can stay close to your opponent if you whiff a normal, and it kills the momentum from her backflip, right? But from what I just had planned in my head by default, I would have comboed her into max, and I would have lost a good chunk of my max time without really using any of the meter. However, because she does it like this, and even though she OTGs her to get the max, that gives her more of the time if she wanted to use it. Now she's going to do that. I kind of wonder why she didn't air combo and do something like BC, double jump BC, instant heat throw. Huh. Although that would have left her in neutral. And then she's sitting here. This is one thing that she doesn't do. A lot of FCO Hakus don't do this. They don't do the like 5B, 2B, 236A in the cactus, which I'd have did that. Even if I wouldn't have got it airtight, which it's really hard to do it airtight. Ah, I can't even do it right now. Please? There. That. And that's not airtight. I didn't even get it as tight as possible. That's really good. Just to make her block something. Maybe coaxed her off of her meter for a shield bunker. But she just kind of pushes her away. That's one reason why I think a lot of people don't think too highly of FCO Haku. It's because a lot of FCO Hakus just put people out all the time. Even though she has things to where she can contain and control people, as long as she has meter. And I mean, she's gonna lose all that meter anyway. She's in heat. Yep. Okay with that. High lows. And this is one of the flaws of FCO Haku. Is she's giving up so much damage just for the cactus or the plant pressure, but she has to. Although she covers she technically covers so much more space than C and H. It really doesn't outweigh the benefits you get from C or H though. Oof. Lowly hitbox privilege. That's not even lowly hitbox privilege. That's just that's Lin. White Lin don't get to do this. Well, she technically does, but hers isn't as effective. And then Miyako doesn't get to do this. She had to jump away from that 5A. Again, FCO Haku can't really challenge that too well, because she doesn't have a she doesn't even have a jump A that goes straight. It goes up. Shenanigans. Well, she could have got thrown out of that. I went back really far, my bad. Right here. Like, if this Lin had the reaction, she could just jump up and throw that. Because it's going to be a while before the Molotov comes out. And you can't hit her. She actually has no, she's invincible, but she's strike invincible. So yeah, she clearly could have got tossed for that. Here's another thing that a lot of FCO Hakus don't do, which is why I think a lot of people think really lowly of FCO Haku, which is weird because this FCO Haku in the last round, I think it was actually earlier in this round, shows that she knows this concept exists. She gets this crescent slash right here, which is a hard knockdown, and she's in max. She can put her into a setup right now. She can put her into not that. My phone rang. What the fuck? Fuck. I'm bad. This is why I'm not playing. Fuck. She could have put her in that. Hold on a second. Hello. 2 days. Nope. Nope. I ain't trying to see that. Even if she didn't want to go that far, she could have did that. All right, a little more damage, but it's a hard knockdown setup where you can actually do stuff. Where you keep them contained and you have set play. There's no other way to explain it. Well, there's more detailed ways to explain it, but instead, just like most FCO Hakus, she just does an OTG, which it's kind of hard for her to cover. She can cover it, but she has to take a hard guess on covering it. But it gives Miyako a chance. Or not Miyako, Lin, excuse me. It gives Lin a chance. And the Lin has the meter for the thingy, heat. So it's not like she's left her in the worst case scenario ever, right? Gives her a chance to play. It's really weird. Dude, Trois. She could have arc drive. I don't know if the arc drive would have killed from there. It's like, you're absolutely right. She could have arc drive. She could have did anything that didn't involve just giving her a chance. I guess that is something I need to look into in this game, is like how much life is represented by the ticks under the by the guard bar ticks. Just so I can kind of gauge health. It definitely wouldn't have. Honestly, don't know. Honestly, don't know. Like, because her hard drive does a decent amount of damage. I blinked. Like, I just want to see this PCL get slaughtered again. C-Coma. You say C-Coma like C-Coma's uncommon. C-Coma's easier to use because he still plays Melty Blood, as in he can jump out of his normals, jump normals. And he doesn't have to do, like, F's relatively hard combos. So yeah, it's not like you're playing H-Coma. F-Coma's good, but not great. Yeah, I agree. Actually, I just categorize them both under good, and then it comes down to preference. I know, I understand that F is considered better, but I don't think it's to the point of where it's like you don't ever play C. Just like I honestly don't think H is so bad that you should tell somebody not to play him, but if somebody asks, that better not be the first thing that crosses your mind. Is this Jin? If you're talking about like the Coma player, I couldn't tell you. Yo, get murphed. That's what we call that. Jeff knows about this. You sitting there minding your own business. Blackstar knows about this too. I see them get hit by this. Minding your own business, pressing your buttons, Coma out of nowhere, powers up, grabs a hoe by the throat. Or I guess by the top of her dome piece. Hits the 2-pointer, get murphed. Them loops. The loops are on fire. Get murphed again, Sandori. And I've said this a couple times. I don't know if I've explained this ever, but just to say I did it today. No, not that one. Right here. Sandori, from what I've read and how I understand this, literally translates to three-way, which when you get this scenario, you have a three-way mix-up. I've never actually sat to see if it's more, but you get at least a three-way mix-up. Because he dashes and he neutral jumps. And he dashes first, so he has the dash momentum to get behind her. So in this scenario, he has a left-right mix-up based off of what side he's going to land on. If he air dashes back because he doesn't have a cross-up, he has a high-low mix-up between doing a 2C or a 2A. I guess I should have pointed out that the left-right, technically speaking, is jump C, like air dash back, jump C, or land and do a 2A. That's the first part. High-low is coming back and doing the jump C or a 2A, which it sounds like the same. Well, you have to figure out which side you need to block. It's number 2. Or number 3, just getting hit in general or trying to move away from a throw, which even though it's Coma and he has a command throw, it's a regular throw, fits perfectly fine for that criteria. Oh, that Jenny. What up? You was gonna watch. Oh, you're gonna watch banned words. Oh man, you can't do that around here. And then you see me. You say that like I don't stream much. Oh, this part. Okay. Don't wig out or anything. This is another one of the hiccups in the stream or in the recording where, like, I don't know, maybe it was the Nico, but yeah, there's a time skip. Now just watch what happens in this time skip, okay? Don't ask me what the hell happened to this poor Kohaku in like 28 game seconds. Probably a little more since this lens and heat, but she got slaughtered, dude. This made me laugh so hard the first time I saw this. Yeah, the power of H-Lin. I know, right? I kind of imagine this Kohaku made suspect decisions. Oh, it's too far. Or actually skipped up. Go back. Whenever you hit somebody in the air, not right there. Do I have to go back further? I have to go back further. Fuck. No, that far. That's as far as I want to go. Because it is right here. Whenever you hit somebody in the air, or whenever somebody goes in the air, one habit you should have is to count their options, or rather, like, keep track of what options they have left. Because if you tag somebody, they don't get their options back, right? So what that means is that even though this Kohaku got hit 2 times in the air, she still had her double jump and her air dash and her Molotovs and her broom ride. More specifically, she had her system options, right? If you ever catch somebody after they double jumped and they air dashed, you pretty much get to do whatever you want to them when they land on the ground. Or if you hit them high enough somehow, that's a free chance to, like, air unblock them or air throw them where they have little to no response. But if you never keep track of those scenarios feel a lot more random than they really are. This Kohaku made questionable decisions of playing Full Moon. I agree and disagree as a F Kohaku player. I disagree because she's not as bad as people say, but I agree because, I mean, she didn't pick Crescent. Win Super Meme Maker 2000 when you buy me a Wii U. Ah. Yeah, I still don't have a Wii U because there's no point in me having a Wii U. Oh, I went forward. I'd have did this too, and I'd have been mad at myself when I did this. Because I don't know why, but when, like, the entire background changes and gets really dark, for some odd reason, it doesn't really register in my mind that somebody's in heat. And it's not me, because I have 41 meter, right? So this Kohaku is sitting here, because she's gonna pick up this counter hit. And she's just waiting patiently for this counter hit. But it's half moon Lin. So automatic burst. And she's like, ... Oh, wait. This is the part where I air throw her. But she can't get over there in time because she didn't really remember that it was H Lin. I do that a lot as well. It's so frustrating. More like I can move to Sweden for godlike internet. Man, I remember when I was supposed to come to Sweden for a tournament, but Lord Knight went instead. ... I'm just saying. That air throw. And this is another one of these scenarios. It's funny how this happens with Lin. Because, I mean, by default, your Kohaku in this scenario wants to do the 5C anyways because it's going to be the most damage. But with how this is, even if she wanted to do 2C, like 2C Crescent Slash into a OTG, or if she like did the 2C closer into a setup, she couldn't really do the 2C, or it's really risky because of the cat. Get tossed. So sad. And damned if you do, damned if you don't, alright? So, she doesn't tech. Because it's like, well, she's kind of far enough back. She can pretty much cover anything on reaction if I tech. So she doesn't tech. And she just dies to the OTG. Naughty. Dogysamich are pretty hefty to bring over. You brought over Lord Knight. Get out of here, man. You brought over somebody to come win your tournaments. I was just going to talk about Smash, and you asked me first. That's something really to note about full. It didn't cross my mind until I saw this. Because a lot of times when you're left to charge, or just by default, when you're left to charge, logic says, well, why don't I just charge to full? If you don't immediately need it for, like, activating heat, I think it's actually better to leave it somewhere beforehand so you get max at a more opportune time. So like you can get it mid pressure so you get the most heat time, or so that what was the other one I just had? So you don't waste a lot of your max time just in neutral with full health already, right? So I don't know if they both did this on purpose because they kind of stopped at the same time. But this made me realize that, yeah, you don't want to just charge all the way to full when you're given the opportunity. He was in NYC. What difference does that make? I'm close to Atlanta. I'm pretty sure my airport is bigger than his. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Atlanta, what is it? Atlanta International, Hartford International is bigger than JFK? I don't know the airports. Today. Ate all of that. Yes. Yes. That's one good way to deal with armor. One good way to deal with the coma armor. Because even though he doesn't go into hit stun while he has the armor, if you have a rapid 2A, which it's actually very convenient that Seifuku does, or F Seifuku, because C Seifuku couldn't have done that, even though C Seifuku's better. You just wear out the hit stop time with 2As. That's actually well played. The Japanese and the right audio speaker comment. Hey man, all the technology in the world that comes from Japan, they can't give us a good streaming experience. The Nico experience. I'm just saying. I think this is what I was talking about earlier. Right here. A little bit earlier. Because she double jumped, she air dashed. Alright, never mind, she landed there. That was just a low one. But still, he had a good idea of where she was going to land. Oh, this is the Black Star Comet. It's totally a Black Star scenario. Not this one. But she lands, and she wants to press a button. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say you should never press buttons in these scenarios, because if you never press buttons, you let people do whatever they want, all right? But she's so convinced that this coma is either going to run in or is already there that she commits all the way down to like 2A, 2B. And that doesn't seem like a huge commitment till he comes over the top with jump C and kills her. Hey. Don't ask me why I rolled that. Oof. Oof, 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 oof. Could she have gotten this? Actually, I'm pretty sure she could have. And I'm pretty sure she could have based off of one thing. I'm pretty sure this is still a thing when you throw normal ones. Oh yeah. She fucked up. That's what she should have did. Should have threw that. Should have took that trash. Because you can throw people for shielding. Yeah, it wasn't a question of could she have thrown him, but a question of could she have gotten there in time. And I couldn't remember if she could air dash out of normal rings. I don't know why I didn't remember that. Probably because I don't actually play Seifuku. I just want, or F Seifuku. I just want to play F Seifuku. But yeah. Oh hey, there's a little nuance about this character. So for anybody who looks at this in the future, I'll point it out again when it happens, which is like right here. She also has the Archroid dash, where she dashes through people. She could have killed that, oh hey, she actually grabbed that one. She could have killed that dive kick, but she just didn't for some reason. She was trying so hard to bait something like 2-2-C. I think Coma has the up kick. Doesn't matter too much. More Seifukus. More of the Seifuku, rather. She comes out looking like Goichi. Doing the good old, I'm only using the A button. Throw loops. And this actually says a little bit. I know it took so long for me to actually think about this. She did a forward throw. I'm 95% sure she did a forward throw. I don't even know if I can time this correctly. I'm gonna try this because I want to know this. I guess all I really need to do is that. Yeah, I think that's all I really need to do. Oh, okay. Well, I learned something new today. She actually steps forward when she throws. Because the first time I saw that, I didn't go back and look at it immediately, and I was like, huh. She took a step out of the corner and threw. Because it just didn't register in my mind, or it didn't seem reasonable that they'd give a character a throw, and they'd move her hitbox for her. Like, they just give her an automatic car throw, but she steps forward when she throws. You mean you want to bring me over for the next event, but it's either speed running or, man, you front, man. I see you. I see you. It is what it is, man. I understand. Hey, good read. Good read. Saw that shield a mile away. And that was just a really slow counter. I think she could have caught it. Checking with the 5A. And that's kind of funny. I think this is funny. Because, I mean, yeah, she dashed all the way out. And Lynn even started it. This Seifuku was like, you know, I'm kind of out here. She's going to just start throwing shit everywhere. So let me not do this while she's in the corner. And sure enough, there was a cat to start. There's probably going to be like 3 Nekos to follow that. Could the throw have been punished if Lynn hadn't jumped out? Oh, you mean when Seifuku did the throw? Probably. If nothing else, she could have made her block. Lynn could have made Seifuku block something. Like, she had the advantage. I'm pretty sure she could have at the least thrown her back into the corner. Which, I mean, Lynn gets damage meter, all that from throws. But it was a kind of awkward scenario, you know? Like, you have to... Even if you have character knowledge, you just have to know that that's what they're thinking and that's what's going to happen for the result. Or at least that's how I interpreted that. Because even if I play a Seifuku, I don't think I could make that happen on my own free will. You wish you knew how to basic this game? It's not a hard game. As long as you don't play like a ridiculously hard character to start with, it's not a hard game. Hey, get fuzzied. The fuzzies taste so good! And the worst part about that counter wasn't that she dropped it, but the fact that she got a counter hit and she didn't side swap. Yeah, this is the kind of person that is perfectly content with going down swinging. Oh, I remember this. Yes. Oh man, for all the flash that she just tried with all these shields. Oh man, the rogue Neko. Nobody would have ever guessed this cat would have been the MVP. Play C-Roll, he's pretty easy. C-Roll is not pretty easy. You play Shikis? Well, Shikis are pretty easy. Like, now, I'm assuming you actually mean like Shiki Tono, but like all 9 of them aren't bad. Well, no, okay, I take that back. Shiki Tono's fairly easy. Nania's fairly easy. Efryogi is fairly easy. I was about to fuck up and say C and H don't have you pressing buttons. They're not like hard to play concept wise, but they have a lot of buttons. Oh, this matchup is a struggle of Miyako until this happens. So yeah, 5C, just full charge 5C, let it rip. Yo, yo, tell me real quick, pop quiz. Who does this shit? Yeah, this Miyako been watching too much Street Fighter 4. She's thinking she young or something. And I think she could have ducked and like avoided blocking that, but it's still a bad place to be in. And this Lin just killed herself. Until that happened. But I do have to go back and point this out as well. Cause you getting after this scenario, like Lin or White Lin, excuse me, has like about half the screen to play with, right? She has a lead, and even though this is the kind of game where you just sit on your lead, she doesn't have to aggressively go into this Miyako, especially since this Miyako is clearly trying to jump on top of her by Exhibit A. But even after getting this warning shot, she tries it again. Like, it's just really eager to try to finish her off. Like, I don't blame her, because if she hits Miyako, she wins. But she has the tools to make this aggravating and find a really good spot to go with the Miyako. But for some reason, she wants to try to limit herself to air dashing at her without containing her. She's really just lucky she has a reversal. Who was Eltnum and Unio? The Shion. Yo, Melty Blood. Yo, what's up, Hatharo? .5A, just keeping control of some space. Block the double overhead. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, 5C cup. Oh, that's important right there. Right here. This is actually really important. Right there. Because even though she didn't really do it very long, she staggers the 5C. She charges it like partial charge. It's not even really half. But she got information from this because she fakes an overhead and she just makes it safe with a 5A, right? She does the 5A so she can maintain pressure because it's at least neutral on block. I don't know the exact frames. I wouldn't be surprised if it was plus. But the thing is, she has a green light to maintain the pressure at this point. What she's seen though is that this White Lin notices the 5C, notices that it staggers, and immediately stands up to block an overhead. So what that tells Miyako is that later on down the road, she can actually do the half charge 5C in the 2C mix up, or whatever low she wants. It's probably going to be 2C because that'll guaranteed reach. But half charge 5C into a low. That's what she's got in her arsenal right now. And she just blew up a bonker right there. What is this layout? You want to make one for me? Go figure the Smash player comes in here and complains about Melty and stuff. I'm just saying. Just saying, Kappa. Oh hey, at 2B. And if she'd have took a guess on that on those up kicks, she could have did something about it, but why not just hold the space? It was just too slow. It was the right idea. She was trying to put out an icicle. Good shield. And the best part about that shield is so she doesn't let the counter rip, because even though this is like, it might not be an obvious shield to some people, the Miyako might have been ready for this, and she might have up-backed it, right? And she might have blocked it, which still wouldn't have been horrible for this for the White Lin. It actually probably would have worked out the same. But the thing is, even if she leaves this shield right here, Miyako can't land because of the icicles on the ground. So she has to jump away. And that timing just worked out when she came back that she could land. Yeah, I know Koopa, but I don't know. This is something I just recently started doing, and nobody said anything yet, so whatever. Not enough. Well, yeah, it gets to IH. And if nothing else, even though she missed with the ice shard afterwards, she got the life back to make this like almost impossible for this Miyako. Hey, you heard the man, losers finals. 'Cause we apparently have double limb melty tournaments. Times have changed like that. Oh hey, she tried to chicken block jump 2C. Remember all of those times I said you couldn't do X, Y, or Z because of that damn cat? Well, what did I miss? It wasn't really the timing worked out for Miyako to land. The ice disappeared because... Does that actually happen though? I didn't think that happened to F White Lin. I could have swore it actually stayed there, and I thought I checked that. So now I have to know. What is it? That one. Oh, you're gonna shield. Fuck you. Fuck you, dummy. You know better. Alright, I have to actually let it sit out there. Huh, okay. So, like, if it hasn't formed yet, then it's still gonna form. But once it's formed, yeah, Hathor, you're right. The more you know. Is Lin White Lin popular? Lin's pretty popular. White Lin, not really, but she's not unpopular. Yeah, like you see a lot of Lin, because, excuse me, like you're gonna probably see in this, Lin just kind of jumps on people, and then Lin, she does Lin things. H Lin is gonna be doing like the C and H things where you just put people in corners, throw Neko dolls on them. When you get into neutral, you just take up a lot of space with jump 2C. If you ever make somebody block a jump C, like any jump in, more specifically a jump C or a jump B, they're automatically in a 50-50 of some kind. Assuming you didn't like double jump and air dash at them. You just, it's not like she has free reign to run over people, but she's really hard to contest because of her jump 2C. So that opens up a lot of space for her. White Lin, it changes a decent bit from phase to phase, but she does fairly well of like holding the space around her. And depending on which White Lin you're playing, she can she does fairly well with her zoning if you can make a good call of where somebody is, which tends to have to be below you or in front of you, so that you can actually run in and do something to them. So they're decent characters in their own right. They're pretty good. They're not Miyako, I'll say that much. I'm surprised she actually jumped away from that. Not that it was a hard jump away, but it's just one of those things. Do you really want to jump? A jump 2C, jump C, jump 2C. And she didn't jail that, so that's why she got heated away. And Miyako did some crazy shit right there. Because, I mean, she could have chased her down, but that's a really heavy commitment from when she recovered from her heat activation. So there's no telling if she'd have really got there in time to do anything. But because she didn't chase her, Lin puts out a cat. takes some ground control, and then she starts protecting her cat as well because it only has one hitbox. And at this point, she leaves it, but the Miyako doesn't want to land on it, which makes sense. She can just take the right half of the screen and just stay behind the neck, all right? For some reason, she wants to jump back at the damn thing. Like, she can't land there. She can't land there. So, why she jumped back over here is kind of crazy. Because the most she could have possibly done is try to Hail Mary EX shield and still had control of her character. But, no. So, I don't know why she went back. So who's the Meta Knight of this game? Athena. I don't care. This is mine. Hey, you thought there was no answer to this, and you thought you were going to just ask a troll question and get away with this. Who is a character in this game that has ridiculous walk speed? I think she actually has the fastest walk speed, right? Fastest walk speed. Long range disjointed normals. Even longer range disjointed specials. Flies. Yeah. You thought you were gonna troll. You actually thought you were gonna troll somebody. You thought wrong. There's an answer to that. Does she walk faster than H. White Lynn? Honestly, don't know, but I do know that a lot of people claim she has the fastest walk speed. So if she doesn't, I covered my base by saying she has one of the fastest, which she does have one of the fastest. Is she Magneto? No. Now you're just reaching. I'm going back over here. Yo, that side swap though. Spacing though. This spacing though. Actually, don't have to not mumble so much. But for staying this close, especially after this happened right here, I think it's kind of weird that this Lin was really insistent of trying to like advance at this Miyako. Because this Miyako has done to a bunch of people, and she's done it a couple times so far in this round alone. She shows that she has, that her MO, I don't want to say she has no qualms with, her MO is to be on top of people and just rain down with jump C's, right? So if she doesn't have her controlled like so, I don't know why this Lin wants to keep going at her, even with subtle stuff with jump forwards. Like, I kind of think she really ought to be looking for neutral jumps in this scenario, just to kind of wall her off and try to pick her off. But because she took such, it's not even really a big commitment. It was just a jump B, which she could have got 2B'd for right there. She could have lost right there. But she lets this Miyako out into the space, and the Miyako takes control. It's another one of those things where I get to talk about it because I'm sitting around in a chair watching instead of playing, but it's just really gutsy to try to do that in that scenario, and it didn't pay off. Oh, opinion, respect, that's what's up. I don't know, I guess that'd be something to actually check. But that's one of the things that I don't entirely know how to check it. Or I think I do, but I don't know how to check it without, or how to check it with complete certainty. Yo, get side swapped again. Because you could just, like, have the characters walk one way, like full screen with a timer, but I don't know exactly how accurate that is. But it's good enough to know that she has really fast walk speed, because that makes her ground game very insane. We're not worried about this Hime right now. We're worried about these grand finals. Miyako going through the White Lin army. And I do like how, even though like the Miyako is backed up a little bit, she hasn't just stayed completely on the left side of the screen. She hasn't stayed all the way in a position to where she's not going to be hurt by White Lin or really threatened. I have to go back further to show this. She's staying out of the ranges where White Lin can control her, but she's still threatening. Like, she's threatening with dashing super jumps, dashing jump air dashes, which give her different angles. But she's not just content with staying out here and waiting for White Lin to come to her. That's what I'm getting at in this. And like that right there, that neutral jump into a jump A, it wasn't the most important thing in the world, but if Lin would have stayed on the ground, that would have been Miyako in her face. And Miyako just does just an A, just to contest White Lin's jump A and try to keep her controlled in the corner. Like, these are signs of good neutral. This is why this Miyako's sitting here in grand finals, because she knows how to work around the weaknesses of her character, which is character's not very fast, character doesn't have long range, character's like sphere of influence, if you will, is basically where she's standing. But she still knows how to be effective with it. And now she gets a chance to actually play the game a bit. Takes another guess. And she's in. She has succeeded in her pilgrimage to the other side of the screen. Oh, Shockwave, you're just in time to watch the end of this. Raffle. This is another universal thing. So, well, I actually can say in this scenario, everything in this scenario right here says that you shouldn't DP, right? You just shouldn't DP. There's this nice huge icicle that you're gonna run into if you DP. Excuse me. White Lin is super jump, or she's jumping behind. I don't know if she's actually super jumping. She's jumping behind it. Like, she's not jumping in front of it. Everything in the world says you don't DP here, right? But if you're never willing to ever DP this like a good, honest person, then that leaves this Lin to do whatever she wants. So, being a risk taker, she DP'd. And she was wrong. She predicted a DP. She actually knows the range of this DP very well. But I'm not going to fault this Miyako for trying, because if she didn't, who knows what in the world could have happened. Alright, now the second one. That was her fault. Nah, really, it's the same scenario. Actually, this is a concept I'll explain. This is a really funny concept that I told the people I play around me about years ago. And time again. This is a concept that not a lot of people really think about. And this is a perspectives concept, right? So, this Miyako gets put into a scenario that clearly says she shouldn't DP, right? Like, everything about this says you don't DP this. She DP. Oh, that was the second one. My bad. I need the first one. All right, we're watching this trip to the corner again. Because this isn't like hashtag production or anything. All right, here we go. Everything about this scenario says you don't DP, right? The icicle, the Lin jumping behind the icicle, yada yada, blah blah, right? So she DPs and she gets hit for it, right? That might have been the same one, whatever. So we get this same scenario, or relatively close to the same scenario. Knockdown on the corner, lens or white lens not directly on top of you. She's not whiffing 5B or anything from that. There's two ways to look in this scenario. There's the thought process of taking a tool away from somebody or like deterring somebody from using the tool, so they would be inclined not to use it again and going to another event, which would mean that if this Miyako agreed with that thought process, she wouldn't want a DP here because she just got punished for DPing. Or there's the other thought process of, I am on my back again. What are all of my options? One of them is to DP. What do I think she's going to do to me? Something meaty. How do you beat something meaty? You DP. Neither one of those is the honest right answer. But like I said earlier in the stream, it's one of those scenarios where if you can understand how the other person thinks, that's how you start making reads on people, like those really hard reads. And so from seeing this, the one thing the Lin should take away from this, well, aside from the fact that she kills her and wins, the one thing that the white Lin should take away from this is that the Miyako is perfectly willing to do the same thing twice, even if it doesn't look like the right answer. DP is always the answer. Yo, man. No, I can't even joke about that. 5C and she blocked it. Took a roll. I was gonna say something, but I'll let it go because it's a more of a what I think thing, other than like a thought process, ideology, theory, if you will. Which is something to actually note about this Miyako, which I haven't said yet, is she's just very active. She's just very active, which is why you constantly see her do a lot of stuff off of her back or from like disadvantageous scenarios. But I pointed out the DP specifically because that's the one that's really easy to point out to people. You hold the zone though. Don't let her get in your zone. Don't let her get in your zone. Hey, look. He's willing. That's a good call. Classic example of how to beat zoning in 2D, projectile zoning. She beat a button there because neutral jump 2B is not a low. Seven seconds. This right here. This right here. The hardest of reads. This motherfucker was trying to read like he's trying to read Greek or something like that. But it's another instance where I don't know why Miyako didn't just kill her right there. DP is never the answer. Man, you guys sound like the anti-bully ranger right now. Bully! No bully! Yo, what up, Tim? I mean, you knew somebody was going to get ended right there. It was a question of who. And you didn't know they could have had the award ceremony afterwards. Aha. Surprised she didn't get punished for that string to begin with, the 2A2C string. Hammering back. Oh, this, I have to point this out. I want to point this out. I always want to point out a lot of stuff. A lot of subtle stuff. Because right here, this fake is bad. And the reason why this fake is bad is because there's no way you're actually gonna react to this. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if in this scenario Miyako just didn't see this at all, because like in the sense of what's supposed to happen, White Lin did everything right. You jump in the air, you immediately go back to the ground, like using some kind of movement, and you do a low. And the reaction is they're supposed to block high, kind of like the universal overhead that I talked about time and time again, where you half charge the overhead and you go low. Same concept. The thing is, this Lin does this so fast, there's just no way to react to it. That's something you have to keep in mind when you do stuff like that, is you have to do it in a way to where people can see it. P.S. LOL, that shield scenario from earlier happened in full charged 5B air unblockable. GG. GG. That's it. Facepalm. And so, wait, cancel that. So the winner of that tournament, this tournament from a couple days ago, was F. White Lin. Yay! I don't even know who the player is, but that's how it is. Oh yeah. Okay. So how do I do this? That happens because I don't really care.